What's up, nutrition nerds, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to talk about how we actually improve through training. If you've watched any of my previous videos, then you'll know about my background, but if you haven't, I'm a clinical practitioner in family medicine and I'm currently halfway through a master's degree in sports and exercise nutrition, and I'm also a qualified British triathlon coach. I love the crossover between medicine and sport, so I wanted to give you some insight from my perspective and how you can use this to inform and improve yours or your athlete's performance and training. So as someone with a background in medicine and then getting involved in sport, this is something that really interests me. I've seen athletes who train hard, recover well, and just get better and better. But I've also seen it when athletes struggle, lose motivation, get themselves into a bit of a hole, or get ill or injured. Now I know you're probably there thinking, come on James, I know how to train and I know how to get better. That's easy. And I'm sure a lot of you do. But I'm also certain that there's something that you could learn to help improve your training and, importantly, stay consistent over the long term. Whether you come up with your own training plan or whether you're a coach, if you understand the actual process of adaptation, then you can understand why and when you can push harder and when you need to back off a little bit and give priority to recovery. I'm going to make this simple to understand and relevant so that you can actually apply the principles to training. So as always, let's start with the why. So why do we train? What's the purpose of it? And I'm not just talking about the pushing yourself and getting nasty, although there is a weird enjoyment in that. I'm talking about the why we do it on the physiological level. So basically the science behind it. Let's go with a visual representation here and give ourselves a baseline of fitness. This line is our fitness at whatever stage we're at. Now the why we train is clearly to get better, whether that's faster, stronger, fitter, but we want to get our fitness up here. Now in order to improve our fitness, we have to stress our body. And by stress, I mean we have to do something to it so it goes, whoa, hold on, that was pretty tough. I need to get better so that the next time I encounter that, it's not going to be as much of a problem. So we train, and this stimulates a response from our body and we get fitter, because we're awesome, adaptable human beings. But the important thing to know is that this isn't just a linear upwards progression. It doesn't just go up like this. The path it takes is actually more like this. Every training session we do actually pushes our fitness down a little bit, and I'll explain why in a minute. But we do that training session, and then we do another, and another, and we do that for a couple of weeks. Then we have some time, maybe a week, to recover, and our fitness rebounds and actually gets better. This is called supercompensation, and it's the reason why we actually improve. Our body has adapted and recovered from all of the training, and we're stronger and fitter. This is a slightly simplified version, and there'll be rest days here and there, skipped training sessions, but you get the idea. Now in terms of what actually happens to our body in terms of a response to training, it's quite complicated. There are loads of different adaptations that might occur, but these are just some of them, and this list isn't exhaustive. But you get it. We get even better. Now there are other important things to consider during this stress and adaptation process. When we train and we want to recover and adapt and get stronger, we have to send signals to our body so that it knows to do this. Hormones, which are essentially little chemical signals, get activated in response to exercise. And there are two important ones to highlight here, and these are cortisol and adrenaline. Now just to be clear, these are by no means the only hormones involved. The pathways to adaptation in response to exercise are super complex, so we won't get bogged down. But most people have some awareness of cortisol and adrenaline, and it's a really good visual representation of what's going on. So let's just keep these two hormones in mind and go back to our graph of fitness. The level of these hormones rise in response to exercise because they activate some processes which prime our body. Essentially, they get us ready to fight. Which is great, and we need this. As these hormones rise, and especially in the long term, they create a dampening effect on loads of our bodily systems, including our cardiorespiratory system, our fitness, and our immune system. Now, a way to understand this is to consider our survival needs in the short term. Although we are super smart, intelligent beings, we're also kind of primitive. In response to danger, or in our case exercise, our body gets us ready to fight and puts all of its resources in the short term to that. And that means we aren't thinking about long-term improvements or safety mechanisms. We're just in the here and now. So it's important to understand what's actually going on when we exercise, and when we're training, it really takes its toll on our body. So hopefully we can understand some of the side effects of training hard and what's actually going on inside our body. Because the hard training has dampened our immune system, it means we're more at risk of illness and injury. From a fitness point of view, we can often feel worse, like we can't train as hard as we normally would, or we don't feel as fit. And that's because we're still in this depressed phase, and at this point, our body hasn't recovered and rebounded. It just keeps getting pushed harder and harder, and it's getting tired. So this is why it's critical to recover properly. It allows all of those levels to balance out, our immune system to recover, our stress hormones to recede, and our fitness to improve. So what can you do to actually improve this process? The most important thing here is a proper training plan. If all you do is train hard and you don't allow your body to recover properly, you'll be at a much greater risk of illness, injury, and overtraining or overreaching syndrome. So be sure to plan adequate recovery into your training. And linked with this, understand that it's not actually a bad idea to back off your training when you're really feeling it. If you know you've put in the hard work over weeks and months, but you feel like you've stagnated or you're not getting anywhere despite still smashing it, ease off the gas a bit. The likelihood is you're not actually giving yourself enough time to recover properly, and you're getting into that overreaching or overtraining region. If you find yourself there, look at getting a coach. A good coach should be able to spot this, work with you, and get you back into proper training again. So another part of the puzzle, unsurprisingly, is nutrition. Now obviously I have to mention that since we are all about nutrition here, but it's so important. I've talked about overall calorie intake before, but when we're under a heavy training load, we've got to make sure we get the food in. We need to make sure we eat enough calories to cover the energy that we use during hard training, and then enough to cover our normal bodily processes as well. And this can be quite a lot of food, but as a catch-all, and this is one of my biggest tips, it's to make sure that you don't lose weight during a hard training block. If you are, then it means you're not getting enough food and calories in to replace what you're using, and that will put you at a much greater risk of illness and injury. I'll cover it in another video, but there's a time and a place for losing weight, and that is not during hard training. Don't be afraid to eat a lot during your hard training periods. Fuel your hard workouts and get plenty of fresh fruit and veggies in there as well. If you do want to know a little bit more about a triathlete's diet and the basics of it, including carbohydrates, protein and fat, I've put a link at the top of the screen now. That will take you to a playlist where I've made some videos on this in more detail and about their importance. So I think that's probably about it for today's video. I hope you found it useful, but really I hope you did find it useful because it took ages to sort those graphs and fiddle around with it. Let me know if you've got any questions in the comments section, and as always, give the video a like and press subscribe. So have fun training, use all of your new knowledge, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.